Welcome back to my channel. I'm Hannah Blackwell, and today I have brought together some of your favorite booktubers to talk about the coziest books they have ever read. This is so exciting. It's been in the works for a little while now, and I'm so flipping pumped to get these booktubers together. They're each going to recommend to you the coziest book they have ever read. So there is some cozy romance, some cozy fantasy, actually a lot of cozy fantasy, and just some overall cozy books that are really going to make you feel the fall vibes, the winter vibes, the cozy vibes. We're getting into cold weather season, and it's time. It's time to get cozy, y'all. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you do so. All of my social media is linked down below in the description, including my Goodreads, Instagram, Twitter, the link to the hideaway that I share with my good friend Maggie, as well as my Patreon and the link to my Etsy shop where I sell bookish and seasonal bookmarks. Don't forget to comment down below and give us your recommendations for the coziest book you've ever read. I do really want to give a quick heads up that I am going to be hosting a giant sale on my Etsy shop coming up from the 1st through the 10th to celebrate the Monster Mash readathon. All of my bookmarks are going to be 20% off. That's right, 20% off. So make sure to go check out my Etsy shop and get your 20% off from the 1st through the 10th of October. I have a lot of bookmarks on my shop. I just wanted to show you a few. This is my witchy bookmark. I've got my cozy fall in the woods mushroom bookmark. I have some bookish themed bookmarks like this guild bookmark that is literally dripping in gold, and on the back it says, "I'll be the villain for you." And I adore this bookmark. And I also have a lot of Monster Mash bookmarks. There's still a couple of the Monster and Fated Mates, but there's also these Gothic and Forbidden bookmarks too, with the handmade eco-dyed paper and stamped with the roses. So make sure to check out my Etsy shop down below to get your 20% off. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into some of these booktubers' cozy recommendations.
Hello friends, my name is Tori from Tori Between Pages. I am so honored that Hannah asked me to do what is my coziest book that I've ever read. I'm going to take some of the stakes off of that sentence, and instead of being the coziest book that I've ever read, I'm gonna do the coziest book that I've read so far this year, because I can't just pick one book if you're asking me what's the coziest book that I've ever read. So we had to honor this with a cozy little sweater. I have a cozy fall mug, and my cozy book that I am picking is called Flower Heart, and this is by Catherine Bakewell. This is a cottagecore, low-stakes fantasy. It gives all of the Studio Ghibli vibes that you could ever ask for. The world is just so whimsical, magical, beautiful that the best way that I can describe it is like watching a Studio Ghibli movie. If you love a descriptive, lush, flowery writing style, I think that you will really enjoy this one. It's also a very naturalistic magic system, so if you love, think like Forest Witch, but in this case, it's a flower witch. In this book, our main character is Clara, and her magic has always been very wild, but it's never been dangerous until one day, a simple touch causes poisonous flowers to bloom in her father's chest. The only way to heal him is to cast an extremely difficult spell, and she basically has to prove to the magical order that she is not a harm to herself and others, her magic is not a harm to herself and others, or else they're going to take away her magic. So she goes on this journey to be able to master her powers, to master her magic. The only way to master her powers is to reconnect with her childhood best friend. His name is Xavier. It's like a second chance friends to lovers that is the sweetest. He's grown from a sweet, shy child. Again, they used to be best friends, play together all the time. Their families were super close, into someone who is much more mysterious and very distant. Xavier will help her, but he asks for a terrible price in return. And as Clara continues to work with him, she finds out that he has some dark and very unexpected secrets that he's hiding. I love this one so much, I gave it 5 stars, and I hope that you love it too. And now, on to the next cozy fantasy recommendation.
My favorite cozy fantasy book, and actually one of the best books that I've read this year, is A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. This is such a short story. In just 160 pages, you get this amazing blend of fantasy. There's a little bit of sci-fi. In essence, it's a book that reads as a hug. From the beginning, when you open the pages, you see the dedication, which is for anyone that needs a break, which is so incredibly relatable, and will basically follow the story of this monk that although he has everything and he is supposed to be happy, he doesn't feel like that. It's a story about purpose, about productivity, and about just taking a break. Definitely a book that you can read in one sitting, but it really deserves to be savored. Let me know your thoughts if you end up picking this one up. And thank you so much, Hannah, for including me in this collaboration.
Hi everyone, my name is Kara from Kara's Bookshelf. First of all, thank you so much, Hannah, for having me in this video. So the prompt is the coziest book you've ever read. And when I think of a cozy fall, first, I think of Taylor Swift, Folklore Evermore, read Taylor's version. Second, I think of Trader Joe's and all the great fall themed things they have at Trader Joe's. Third, I think of snuggling up with a really good cup of tea or a good cup of coffee and reading a book. And the immediate thought that came to my brain is step up to medicine. No, just kidding. Just kidding. I was saying the immediate thought that I had when I was thinking about this prompt was Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. Okay, I read this book a few years ago. This book is peak cozy. Like, I literally can't describe a better cozy book for you. The basis of this book is about this guy named Wallace, and he's like a grumpy old man, okay? He was a lawyer and just like a grouch his entire life. He dies. I'm not spoiling anything. He dies. And like, he's being transported through the afterlife from Earth to whatever comes next, okay? And on this little journey of wherever he is, he essentially gets escorted into this little cozy tea shop where he meets all of these spirits, and they kind of like help him reframe his mindset on his outlook of life. And it's just like the most beautiful thing. There are some really cute and eclectic characters in here. The way that TJ Klune describes this cozy tea shop, it just is so vivid in my mind, like all the bright colors, like it just brings cozy vibes to me. And not only does this book give you like the coziest of vibes, but also like the message that TJ Klune is trying to portray and kind of like tell you throughout this book is really beautiful. I cried when I read this. It's just a great book overall. I mean, if you like House of the Cerulean Sea, you're going to love this book. I can literally guarantee it. Like, check. Yeah, I would highly recommend this for anyone who is interested in it. Go pick up this book if you haven't read it yet. And thank you so much, Hannah, for having me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Hi, my name is Kristen from the channel Kristen Craves Books, and Hannah asking me to choose a favorite cozy fantasy is near impossible because I love everything cozy. I went through my list and I decided to share a book that I think is underrated and underhyped and is indie published or self-published and maybe you haven't heard of before. It's called Baking Bad by Kim M. Watt. This is the first in a series. The names are so punny and cute, and that is part of what I love about cozies. There's another book in the series called Game of Scones. These are cozy mysteries with dragons. So if you already like cozy mysteries but you want dragons or more fantastical element to them, this is the series to go to. It has all the small town charm and all the staples of a cozy mystery, but there are talking dragons in it, and I ate this up. And I just think the last paragraph in Goodreads pretty much sums it up for you, and I think will sell you on it. And it says, a fun cozy mystery with dragons for anyone that likes their mysteries gentle and well stocked with cake, tea, and friendship, and dragons, obviously. So it's got all the food that you would want in this. It follows a women's institute where the vicar is murdered and a detective comes on the scene and they keep lying to her and trying to figure out who the real murderer was. And the dragons are deeply involved in this as well and have great personality. So if you want dragons that actually have personality, this is the series to pick up. There is a Christmas title. I think there was actually 2 Christmas titles in this series. So you can get cozy around the holidays as well. It's just such a sweet series. I desperately need to continue on with it. It's a great way to support a self-published author, and I think you should give it a chance. So all my dragon lovers, check out Baking Bad, and thanks to Hannah for asking me to contribute to this video. I can't wait to see what everybody else picks because you know that this is my happy place. I just love this genre.
Hi, it's me, Daphne, from the channel Being Daphne. I mainly read romances, and the book that I picked for the coziest book I've ever read is Mariana Zapata's All Roads Lead Here. I find this to be cozy because it gives a bit of a fall, like heartwarming vibe, even from the cover. She's in a beanie, she's got a flannel on, she's out in nature, and I just think like hiking in nature just is the vibe right now. You just want to be like warm and snuggly on the couch reading this heartwarming, like kind of sad journey of self-discovery for our main character, Aurora. So she's returned back to her hometown to kind of find more about her mom's past, and she is living in the spare apartment of this guy Rhodes' house. Rhodes is a single dad of a son, and these two males just seem like they need a warm hug because they're just like a little sad. Maybe he's a little bit lonely and grumpy, and Aurora is just the person to change their lives. And I just thought it was a beautiful story. It's definitely mainly women's fiction first with a touch of slow burn romance, but I absolutely loved it. I loved the journey we went on with Aurora. And yeah, it's just like everybody needs a hug in this story. Everybody needs to, you know, heal their wounds. So this is the book I've selected.
Wow. Okay, so we've already gone through some amazing recommendations from some amazing booktubers, but I want to take a short break here to give you my recommendation for the coziest book I have ever read. And that is a book that I read recently and fell head over heels for. That was Cursed Cocktails by R.L. Rowland. This is a queer cozy fantasy, and it is just, it's so wonderful. This is about our hero who is an elf, and he has these magical powers. He's been serving in the military, or this world's military, for a very long time. He's had a really hard life, and he's actually in pain because of the way his blood magic affects his body. So he decides to move down south where he thinks it's going to help his body heal. And he decides to open up a cocktail bar. He has this old book from his father's travels where his father collected recipes from around the world, and he wants to try them out. And he meets our other hero who is a bartender, and they open up this cocktail bar together. And it is so sweet. Very inspired by Legends and Lattes. R.L. Rowland is very open about that, but I actually like this better than Legends and Lattes. I felt like it was even cozier, and I just loved the story so much. I loved it. I loved it. There is this magical animal too that you get to meet that is so cool and so unique. I can't tell you about it because it's kind of a spoiler. If you are looking for something really cozy that's going to give you the cozy fall vibes, a cozy fantasy, check this one out. It's really underrated. I don't know a lot of people who have read this, and I think if you're in love with Legends and Lattes and want a book that's going to give you more of that and potentially better, check this one out. Let's get back to some Booktuber recommendations.
Hi, I'm Abby from the channel Abby Salter, and cozy fantasy. Cozy fantasy and me, I don't read a lot of it. It's not my go-to genre. I typically gravitate to books with more stakes than cozy fantasy provides. But every now and again, it is nice to dive into something that is light-hearted and fun and a complete distraction from the world. My recommendation for a cozy fantasy is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. I fell in love with this book earlier this year, and I became absolutely obsessed. I think I read this pretty much in a sitting, or the bulk of it in a sitting, because I could not put this book down. In this, we're following our main character, Emily Wilde, who is a leading researcher in fairies, and she is going to a remote Nordic island to investigate the fairies there, where she is followed by her academic rival, Wendell Bamblebee, and it is them meeting and getting introduced to the townfolk there, as well as the fairies that they meet along the way there, and their academic rivalry romance. And I really thoroughly enjoyed this, and I would recommend it. It has quite a wintry setting, so as we move into the colder half of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, I feel like this is just the perfect vibes. So I would 100% recommend this, especially if you are in need of some levity and fun and some pure escapism. Thank you, Hannah, for having me on to recommend one of my favourite reads of 2023.
Hello, my name is Sandra from Got a Thing for Things. And the cozy book I want to recommend you today is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. Well, someone had to do it, so I decided it should be me. And you probably heard a lot about this. A spin-off slash prequel is coming out now this November, and this one is following an orc who has a warrior past and is now settling down, opening this cafe that basically just sells coffee and then eventually other stuff on the menu. She collects these people that works for her and they become this beautiful found family. One of my favorite tropes. Then there's also a sapphic romance, which has all my heart.
Hello everyone, my name is Laura from the channel of Book Circus, and I'm here to talk about the coziest book I've ever read. So I had a lot of options, but when it really came down to it, I had to go with Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. So this is a middle grade fantasy, and I feel like when it comes to truly cozy reads, you can't get better than a middle grade. So in this, we are following Morgan Crow, who is a cursed child, destined to die on her 11th birthday. However, on the eve of her 11th birthday, a strange and remarkable man named Jupiter North comes and swoops her away to the magical city of Nevermore, where she is entered into these trials to become a part of the Wondrous Society. And the story goes from there. And what I think makes this so cozy is just the overall whimsy of it. It's incredibly whimsical and magical. Morgan lives in this hotel that is somewhat sentient, that changes the style of her room depending on her mood. There is a giant talking cat named Fenestra who is so incredibly sassy and funny. I absolutely love her. She's probably one of my favorite characters in the story. And Jupiter North himself is just very unusual, very mysterious. I loved getting to learn more about him. And the world itself just has so many fun, whimsical, magical things, from the setting to the atmosphere to the characters. It also has that bit of nostalgia as well because it has this magical school setting, which I know a lot of us love. So this is one of the coziest books that I've ever read, and I had to recommend it. If you love middle grade, even if you don't, I think that you will still very much enjoy this.
Hi Hannah, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this video. My name's Grace from the channel Grace Dion, and the book that I want to highlight as being a lovely cozy read is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. And this is just a very cute, pretty joyful book overall, but basically we are following our main character Mika Moon, who is a witch in Britain, and she is basically taught from a young age that witches are meant to keep themselves apart from one another. They cannot congregate except on special occasions because they're trying to, at all costs, prevent the chance of regular people discovering them. But Mika basically, she makes videos online that are sort of like fake magic pretending to be a witch type of video, but someone from across the country sees through this and thinks that she is a real witch, and of course they're correct, but they want her to come mentor and tutor 3 young witches that are living at this house together. And this is a very rare occurrence because witches don't congregate together like that, and these 3 young girls really need the guidance of someone who knows magic and knows what they're doing. And they currently have kind of an eclectic group of caretakers that really love them and want the best for them. And Mika sort of integrates into this found family throughout the book, and her and the 3 young girls are just very sweet. They all have their own personalities, and the people who are the caretakers of these girls are extremely sweet too, and the book is just very wholesome, and I wholeheartedly recommend it for the cozy vibe.
I hope you guys loved this video. I had so much fun getting these booktubers together, seeing some of their recommendations, adding more books to my TBR, and I hope that you guys did too. I hope you guys had a good time with this video. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you do so. Don't forget to click the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I post new videos. Don't forget to click the like button and comment down below. Let me know what your favorite coziest book of all time is. All of my social media is linked down below in the description, including my Goodreads, Instagram, Twitter, the link to the Hideaway, which is the Discord that I share with my good friend Maggie, the link to my Patreon, and my Etsy shop, where you guys can get 20% off of my handmade bookmarks from the 1st through the 10th of October. Until next time, fellow readers, keep reading and living your best life.